Hello everyone. So this is the class about the short story that you had to read, so the Telltale Heart. We have analyzed the first paragraph already, and now we need to analyze the rest of the story. So I know it's not easy, but I hope that this video is going to help you to better understand. So you need to take your short story, you need to take different highlighters, different pens, and you need to take notes at the same time. So, the Telltale Heart. So if we want to present the characters. So the characters, you've got 3 characters. We said that in a short story, the number of characters is limited. So here, only 3 characters. So you have the narrator, so we talked about him with the first part of the analysis. We don't know much about him, we have no information, we wonder whether he's mad or not, and we can ask ourselves if he is really a hero or not, and we might classify him in the category of anti-hero, because we will see that we don't, it's quite difficult to identify to him, and it's quite difficult to feel some compassion or sympathy for him. So this is the narrator. Then, and the narrator is also an actor is also a character in the story that is telling, and is the criminal, the one who is killing another person. Then you've got the old man. The old man, what we know about him is that he lives with the narrator, but we don't have any information about him, how old he is, what is his relation, how he's related with the narrator, whether they live in the same building or they live really in the same house, and we've got no information about this the relationship he has with the narrator. The only issue that we are sure of is this idea is about his eye and how the narrator sees his eye. He calls his eyes the vulture eye or the evil eye. And this evil eye is going to be the reason why the narrator is going to kill him. So this is the only issue that we are aware of, but we don't have any proof about this. We don't know if it's really existing. And what is also quite striking about this character in the short story is that he is totally silent. He doesn't have any line, he doesn't have any cue in the dialogue. So he's really so in the story he's the victim because he's the one who is being killed, but he's also a victim in the narration because he doesn't say anything and has no part in the dialogues or in the words. And finally, you've got 3 characters who globally represent the police officers, the police, the government, the law, the order. So what is striking about these characters is that they arrive really late in the short story. We'll see that they arrive in the part of the falling action after the crime has been committed. And they arrive at 4 in the evening to inquire about an unusual sound, a shriek that some neighbors have heard. So this is for the characters, so limited number of characters and no information about them. So this is part of both the characteristic from the short story and a characteristic from the Gothic. So now, in terms of plot diagram, so you can see that, so we've got the same plot diagram that we already studied. So the first part is the exposition. The exposition is the first paragraph that we studied last time, where the narrator, this unknown narrator, is trying to convince the reader about his sanity, and he's saying that the fact that he's going to tell a story is going to be a proof that he's not mad. So this direct relationship between the reader and the narrator. Then you've got the rising action. So the rising action is when the narrator identifies the eye of the old man as the vulture eye, as the evil eye, and we've got the reader is confronted to a chronological narration, because the narrator explains in detail. He explains each night when he goes into the room of the old man and tries to kill him. So we've got a very linear chronology, and the action is quite repetitive. So he goes into his room for 8 nights. Then the climax. So the climax is on the 8th night. So it's not at the beginning of the 8 nights, but it really corresponds to a moment in this night. It's the moment when he starts hearing the heart of the old man before killing him. And so this heart is going to prompt him to kill the old man suddenly. So you can see on the correction that I sent you that you've got the different parts, and you've got your text, which is divided into 2 different parts. So take it so that you can follow better. And so after the climax, and then the falling action. So the falling action is when the sound, so the heart of the beating of the heart of the old man stops. Then you've got the details of how the narrator, what does the narrator do with the corpse, and you've got the arrival of the officers, and a new sound is coming, and the narrator thinks that it's a sound from his ear. So this is the falling action. And then resolution. The resolution is so the 2 last paragraph in the last column. It's when you've got a new sound, which is, or at least it's a recurrent sound. It's the sound of the beating of the heart of the dead man that seems louder and louder to the narrator. And progressively, he is going to lose control, and he will not be able to control himself. So that's what happens in the last paragraph. So 3 lines where the narrator bursts out and admits his murder by telling the police the whole deed. And this information, so is the fact that he confesses, is written in 3 lines in the last paragraph. So it corresponds to one of the characteristics of the short story, the fact that the end is like a twist, because it's done. So the end comes really abruptly and in very few lines. So this is it for the plot diagram. So you can see that it follows the usual plot of a story. But what is interesting in a short story is the resolution, which is a twist and really sudden and abrupt. So what are the different elements that corresponds to the Gothic? So if you take the form that we did when we analyzed Gothic in general, we're going to take the same column, the same category of column. So the characters, the setting, the plot, the atmosphere, the effect on the reader, the aim of the Gothic, and we're going to apply this to this short story. So in terms of characters, what corresponds to the Gothic genre? So here, so there is a madman, and he calls himself a madman. who is an anti-hero because he's both repelling and because he's repugnant, and at the same time fascinating for the reader. You can also see that death, you're going to see in your short story that I underline, death is also personified, and we have a confusion between this madman and death, whether the madman, so the narrator, might be death personified. Next, in terms of setting, so the setting, we don't have much, lots of information about the setting. We know that it takes place in a house where the old man and where both the old man and the madman live. It mostly takes place in the bedroom or through, as you can see, through the door where the narrator is looking at the old man. And this bedroom is the unique setting. So if it's a bedroom or room, you can imagine it as something very small, and it's inside. And even when the policemen arrive, they arrive from the outside, but the door is immediately closed, and the narrator invites the policemen, the three policemen, into this single room. And so finally there are 4 persons in a small bedroom. So you've got this idea of uniqueness of place, and also of a form of confinement, because it seems that you can't escape from this small bedroom, and even the reader can't escape. So the plot. There is a crime, there is death, there's a man who dies. You've got lots of reference to violence, especially when the madman cuts the corpse of the old man. You've got a mysterious sound which we can interpret the sound in different ways. The sound can be seen as a form of hallucination from the madman, from the criminal, expressing his guilt and his remorse. It can also be seen as a ghost, the ghost of the old man who is haunting the mind and the spirit of the madman. It can also be interpreted as the signs or the expression, visible expression of the devil, of hell, which is personified with the character of the madman. So you've got some supernatural element in this story. So the sound is part of these supernatural elements, but you've got also the evil eye, the vulture eye that the narrator is describing. In terms of atmosphere, so obviously there's a sense of ominous fear, ominous anxiety from the old man who perceives something but can't really explain it. The anxiety of the narrator also, which prompts him to kill the old man. And you've got also the anxiety which is created and that the reader can feel. And this anxiety is created by a dark atmosphere, dark and gloomy. The whole story takes place during the night, especially at midnight when the narrator goes and sees the old man in his room, and at 4 at night when the policeman arrives. So there is no light except the lantern that the madman is carrying, and he in the story it says it's pitch dark, or it's really dark. So the fact that it's in a unique place plus this dark atmosphere reinforces the anxiety that the that the reader can feel.